Hi, welcome to Money Confidence. I'm Crystal Oculee, the Chief Financial Strategist here at Confidence Wealth, and every week I try to bring a topic to you that's talked about and happens to be the conversation in multiple meetings. So this last week, a lot of conversation around moving out of the particular state you're living in to go and retire somewhere else. So these are some of the tips I'm going to have for you because most people just don't go to the details, especially if they have never lived in that state. It's a little different. Let's say you live in California, but you are from Tennessee and you love Tennessee, family's still back home, and you were always planning after your career to go back to Tennessee. Well, that's not an issue in terms of the state. What is always great to see is how much of a difference it makes, right? As you move to a different state, is it going to lower your taxes, make your taxes higher? All these different things that you should be looking at that actually your team can run all the numbers on for you. So if this is something that's been on your mind in your next meeting with your team, be sure to bring it up. But the part that I think it's really important that I want to talk about, because I've had a lot of clients and retirees that I meet with that are changing state. They're retiring, or they've already been retired, and their children live in a different state, and they're downsizing and they're moving, especially if they're from states like California and New York and Chicago and like more city life, and they want to go somewhere else that's a little bit more suburbia. So they're downsizing and they're taking the equity on their home. Now, obviously, of course, the market's always changed, the ups and downs, but the most important thing is that if you are looking to move out of the state you're living in now, is first clearly understanding the new state you're going to go to is truly going to save you money if that was the first intention. Because a lot of times I hear people say, I'm moving out of the state because I'm going to save lots of money on taxes. Let's say they're going to a tax-free state. It is absolutely true if you have a super high income. And it's going to save you money because you're not going to have to pay. Example, if you're in the state of California and you move to Florida, you're not going to have to pay California any taxes. So that can actually make a big difference. So example, there are people that have high income, or they're taking a required minimum distribution at age 72 when they have to take what Uncle Sam forces them to take out of their retirement fund. It really brings their income high, and they're never really going to be in that lower tax bracket. So let's say the difference could be 10, 15,000 per year for some people in taxes. So they're like, I don't want to give that to the state. I want to travel the world. I'm going to put that towards my travel budget. But what if, for example, the difference was only 3,000 per year in saving in taxes, and you thought you're moving there just to save taxes? But in reality, you saved 3,000. Of course you did, which is great. But maybe that was the price of the weather that you wanted to stay where it was, or the price of the city you were in, whatever it may be. If it's not the weather, I'm just giving that as a general example. I have clients all over nationwide, and they move from state to different states for different reasons. But the part when it's always about saving money, what's important in running the numbers, because I've ran numbers for my clients, and then they're like, this is not as much as I thought. Or in some cases, oh my God, that's going to be a significant saving. So understand the financial aspect is really important. Understanding how much your new house will cost, right? If you're downsizing, what the taxes are going to be, what insurances you're going to pay, what's the cost of living. So example, I have clients that moved from California or New York to Colorado Springs, or Colorado in general. So depending on where they went in Colorado, they went to Denver, yes, they saved. It's not the same as California and New York, but the price points were still higher. If they went to, let's say, I think there's a place called Stone City or something like that. I don't remember. Don't hold me to it. And Colorado Springs were, it was more off the beaten path. Now the prices were different. On the houses, it was lower. But what they did find is that the cost of living was not that much lower because it was off the beaten path. So simple things such as meat and fish and things like that was more expensive because it had to be flown in and frozen and get there. So it's so interesting. That's why I'm trying to tell you, you really need to understand the state, the city, where you're moving in, and truly are you saving and how much are you saving? Because sometimes it really can get dicey. Now, I'm not saying that downsizing is bad. I think it's great, and in some cases makes a significant impact on your lifestyle, which is amazing, because if you have a $3 million house and you're selling it and buying $1 million house and you're pocketing $2 million, well, now you can live a different lifestyle, right? So it's a fit for everyone, but you must understand that. I've seen where a client tells me, I'm selling my house, I'm getting out of California so I can have a lower cost, and they're selling $1.5 million, house, and they're going in and buying something for 1.2 million. Well, how much did you really save? Did that make a difference? So you weren't going there for price, points. You were going there maybe because you wanted to. Then that's different. I guess that's where I'm getting to. I just want to make sure, I know I talked a lot, but I want to make sure when you're choosing to go somewhere else, that you're choosing that place knowing what the financial impact is, but also, are you going to love it? I've had situations where I'll tell you, had a client that, moved out of one state to a next state, didn't like it, moved to a different state, didn't like it, and they ended up back to the original state. And that was 3 years worth of expenses and buying and selling and what goes into that. And had they just Airbnb'd in the place they wanted to go first, that would have been helpful. Or let me give you another great example. If you are in states such as California, or states that are really great for rental, right? Let's say you even own a place in Austin, and tax rental property in Austin is great. In California is great. Rent out your current home, put your things into storage, not a big deal. Go rent out at somewhere in the city that you want to be. Live there for a year. Test it out before you make all those decisions. The reason I bring this up to you is, even personally, I saw my parents go through this. They were in Orange County for over 35 years in their life, and then they decided that they want to go live near my sister, and they moved to Colorado Springs, absolutely hated it, sold the house, bought the new house, wasn't probably the best financial decision, and then ended up barely living there because they didn't like it. So they started to go, like example, rent in a different state, like test out Virginia or test out different states to see if they like it. And they, looking back, they wish maybe they didn't make any of that move at that time. They wish, because, yes, you want to go near your children, but sometimes it's not just about that. It's about living your life, right? So for my mom, for example, she's like, the lifestyle was never going to be hers. She was so used to her lifestyle where she was at that this was way too difficult for her. And, again, experiencing this in my own family, experiencing it with multiple clients, I wanted to bring that up. Now, majority of my clients, when they made that decision, because they came to us and we ran the numbers in advance and they already tested it, ended up being fantastic decisions for them. But my clients that came to me afterward without even sharing it with us and did it already, some of them absolutely wish that they had really weighed out their pros and cons. And that's what you have your team for. This is what we will do. And if you are any friends and a family of our clients, please feel free to reach out to us. Probably we won't be able to see you this year because there's a lot of, tax planning and all of that happening at the end of the year. But we'll be happy to see you at the beginning of the year to brainstorm those things with you. In the meantime, if there's anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out. Current clients, if you have any questions or you're like, Crystal, I've been thinking about this and I like to run some numbers, just shoot out an email to me so I can put that as part of the notes for your next meeting. That's it at this end. Tuning out. If there are any subjects or topics you want to talk about, please let me know. Have a great one.